What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Cracka. This is episode 24, part 2. And if you watched the first episode, or the first part, then you know we're talking about toys. Moving along, I'll just go straight forward. Some more of the Xmen stuff, like I said, how they got crazy with different costumes and stuff down the line. They had Archangel, came out in the 90s. He has the white wings, and he had these. Fortunately, I don't have them anymore, but he had these little darts that would shoot out of his wings, which was pretty cool, especially if you were collecting the X-Men. The funny thing is they actually did make a variant one where his white wings were gray, which apparently it's rare and they're hard to find too. Down the line, they made almost like a Warren Worthington one where he didn't have the mask, but he was still Archangel with better wings and his angel costume. Pretty cool. They had in the, like I said, in the early 90s, they had the villains, of course, the X-Men. They had the Juggernaut, which was, he had like wheels, little skates. You'd push him down and his arms would move, stuff like that. Of course, like I said, down the line, they've gone crazy. They made ones that lit up. He had obviously a different costume. Came with a mallet, which I have somewhere, put in there. But the cool thing is his helmet would come off and he would have Kane Marco, which is pretty cool. Like I said, I'm a fan of that stuff. They came out with Deadpool. Everyone's a fan of Deadpool. Basically this, he had like a little blade that would pop in and out. He also came with two swords, which I think I have one. I mean, I don't know what the hell happened to the other one. This one's actually worth money. Unfortunately, I don't have all the pieces, so that kind of sucks. He did come with like a little laser gun. But once again, down the line, they made another Deadpool, a little bulkier, different kind of costume. Had different things. You could put a knife here, gun here, two swords, but once again, you can remove his mask. And you had the Wade Wilson with his cancer kind of thing. I do have all his weapons. Like I said, most of the stuff I do have all the stuff for it. I keep it in separate boxes so I don't lose them. Smart or crazy, who knows? You can be the judge. Moving on to, I guess we'll do another X-Men. Like I said, we'll go to Wolverine, everyone's favorite, and how crazy they got. In the 90s, when they had the X-Men toys come out, like I said, in 1990, they had obviously they had Wolverine because you can't have the X-Men without it, and he had so many different costumes. When they started really making them, but the first one that came around was this one, which he had the mask. He was in his brown costume, and the blades would pop out, which are pretty damn cool. I pull them back in. And they're pretty thick. I mean, this is the original one that came out. He came with a sword. I have it somewhere, like I said. But like I said, the cool thing is you remove the mask and you have Logan. As you can see his face, if you take a good look, because I'm going to show you something crazy. Down the line, because apparently he was hard to find. Him and Cyclops were a bitch to find when they came out because everybody wanted them. And I had to find this Wolverine in the comic book store when I started working there. My boss got it in and, of course, gave me a pretty good deal on it. Before he was my boss, so I got him and the Cyclops from FunQuest Comics. Later down the line, everyone said how much money he was worth, so I kind of kept him aside. But I found one loose at a garage sale, and the only reason I bought him is because it was odd. If you look at him, it's the same one, but if you look at his face, it's a little different. You can see his face, and also when he pops his claws out, they're really thin. They're not as thick and as solid as the other claws. But he was almost like, this was kind of, I guess, like maybe a remake because they ran out of the other ones. So they redid him as close as they could with maybe the same or different mold. But he's not as durable as the other one. So be on the lookout for the original one, the second thing. Another example of that is they made a Weapon X Wolverine. Like I said, I have all his hoses and stuff somewhere, but he's got the claws. Removable mask. As you can see, he's green. The green hoses. Once again, like I said down the line, they made another one. Same thing, but he's got red. See how they're tricky, sneaky. But moving on to some of the other Wolverines. They did have a street clothes. His claws popped out, which was cool. So he had a Logan. Like I said, I was a fan of that stuff. Another one that they put out was his more popular costume, which was cool and crappy at the same time. Cool because, like I said, the costume, it's seen better days. but his claws didn't go out. They didn't pop, like hide. You could just push them in, and they would pop down. But they didn't have any kind of lever on the back like the other ones, where you can actually keep the claws in. See, let's get the lever and pop it. So that kind of pissed me off, but you know, what can you do? So they had this one. Then they also made, down the line, they made the same costume, except he just doesn't have his mask. Like I said, they got crazy. The only reason I got this one is because it came with his Jeep. Also down the line, when the X-Men were using the same uniform like they did in the old days, they made Wolverine with his no mask and his newer costume, I guess it would be. That was pretty much it for my Wolverine ones. Moving on to Spider-Man. Spider-Man was another one that they really went nuts with in the 90s. Here's the first one that came out. He had suction cups, but they fell off, so what can I tell you? This was the basic Spider-Man that came out in the early 90s, and he came with a big black web that was rubberish, but cool. But like I said, then they went crazy. They started pumping out Spider-Man like there was no tomorrow. They had one, I mean, I have a few of them. Couldn't even tell you where they are. One, the chest would open up, and he had like a thing that would grip onto something. It was like a very fine, it looked like tape. It actually looked like Scotch tape, but you would pull him down, and he would climb up kind of by it, which was kind of odd. It was a web climber, it was called. Then they had another one where it was basically the same one as this, except his arm was a fist, and he shot out a web, which is like this little black web, and it went pretty far. I mean, but I have that one. Like I said, there's a couple of them. They're everywhere, so you'll probably see them on a later episode if this does well. Then they pumped out. They had another one. This is a different one. This is the, as you can see, he's got the web. How he makes his web, you know, stuff like that. Yes, I can do the sound effects. I'm very good. But this is multi-jointed. He can pretty much, you know, move any way you want. You can go crazy with him, which is pretty cool. But then when the animated series came out, like I said, they had they changed like the different sizes and stuff like that on Spider-Man. They also made a Peter Parker, which came with a camera, which, like I said, I have around somewhere. Another funny thing, like I said, with this is they had different. If you look at his chest, well, it's gonna sound sick, but he's got a green type shirt. When they ran out of these, they remade him, of course, but he had a red shirt. So, like I said, there's little differences that you can notice. They also made one that was cool, that was a battle damage one. This one actually came with a camera that went kind of here, which is a little strange, but it does go there in his belt in the comics. And it came with a web pack that went like a backpack kind of thing that you held stuff inside, which was cool, which is around somewhere again, like I said. Moving on. Another one that they had when they started pumping stuff out was the Fantastic Four cartoon and the Iron Man cartoon. Like I said, I'm not going to go crazy showing all this stuff. You'll probably see it in like the next episode, which I'll explain later. But Iron Man was another big one that they pumped out like no tomorrow. In the 90s, the early 90s, like I said, the Marvel ones, they had Iron Man, which he had, you know, different pieces. Like, here you go. This went onto his leg, which is leg armor. So all the armor stuff came off, his chest plate, and of course the mask. So you had Tony Stark. But they had that. Then they made, like I said, when they made the animated series, they pumped out a lot of Iron Man. They have Tony Stark himself, which you could add, if you bought all the different figures, you could add different pieces of armor, like his helmet. You can pretty much, he's like a mix and match almost if you really wanted to go crazy. And then he was the regular Iron Man from the show, which you could add stuff to, as you can see, which is pretty cool. That pretty much does it for some of the toys. Like I said, I'm not going to go insane. I can make like 50 different episodes, just the toys that I have. The next episode is number 25. Like I said, it's a big one. So I'm going to show you my man cave, which is pretty much outside my apartment. Massive cave, lots of cool stuff to show you, and you'll see a hell of a lot of toys. Probably asking questions, you know, how come you don't have any G.I. Joes or Transformers? Trust me, they're all in the cave. I have so many toys, it's ridiculous. But you'll probably see them in the cave episode. Like I said, you'll see some cool stuff. If I did it now, like I said, this episode would have gone on and on and on. But as always, thank you for watching Cracka. This, like I said, episode 24. Lots of cool toys. I hope you enjoyed watching some of the stuff. And I enjoyed collecting. And, of course, I always had fun as a kid on those rainy days. So anyway, like I said, if anything I missed or anyone when you want me to go over or whatever, you know, let me know. Add a comment, subscribe, you know, do whatever. Like I said, I hope you like the show as much as I like making it. and I will see you on my milestone number 25. See you there in the cave.